Today is Wednesday, August the 18th, and it was really a brutal day, and it happened around 2 o'clock. The market changed on us because of the Fed minutes that were released. But look at the McClellan oscillator. Took a big drop down. The summation index, I'm going to show you in a second, but every time we hit this point, with the exception of here, the last time we hit a point similar to this, we dropped, but then we had a big rally forward. This was a bounce. This was a bounce. This one, these two, this one bounced to here, this one bounced to there. They all bounced. This one here did not bounce, but most of the time, after a big bad day like that, you see a bounce. And we could be calling for that, but we'll take a look at the charts in a second. Now the McClellan oscillator, well, here's the FinViz showing you just what happened after the Fed minutes were released. And then you look at where, what was green. Which sectors were green? This little bubble map shows you that the only sectors that were really doing well was the consumer cyclical. And after the bad reading on the consumer confidence the day before, that's just adds confusion to the mess. But Lowe's had a big day. Look at that pop in Lowe's. The TJ Maxx companies, low cost clothing outlets, big jump. Tesla, big jump. Viacom CBS, Ross Stores. So this shows you, this is low cost stores, Ross Stores, TJ Maxx, Carnival Cruise Lines, wow. MGM Resorts, Ball Corporation, strange, eh? Royal Caribbean Group. So I can't really pair those two together. Look at the summation index. This is where it just trails off. I don't have any more data, but look at this. The summation index starting to creep up, and then today was a huge down day. So let's just take a look at the charts and see if we see any reason why we should bounce. Well, look at the Chiku span here bouncing off the top of that candle. Says that the Dow Jones should bounce tomorrow. NASDAQ, same thing. Chiku span right at the top of that candle should bounce tomorrow. The S&P, pretty darn close to the top of that candle. Might see a little bit of a drop, but then it should bounce again. So all three of them, the Chiku span, are telling us that we're going to have a pretty solid day tomorrow. Apple, back into this wedge, lost all of its gains for for most of last week. It's still a great stock. Talk about consumer cyclicals. That's one that should do well. Abbott hit a new high today, but pulled back. Caterpillar continues to pull back. This is not a stock that we want to buy until it hits the 200 and until this stochastic momentum index hits the bottom, because the slower moving one is on its way up. So overall, Caterpillar has momentum forward, but in the short term, it's going down. IBM, not looking good, rejected by the 50. NEO, rejected by the 200. Sava, this is this is a highly traded stock now. It's going to do well, but it's going to shake the heck out of people. It was up today. Square, rejected by the 8, still above the 50. Still pretty low volume. I rolled by 125 calls. I was able to buy them back for under $2. And then I rolled them into next week for $7.50. And that's still the 125 calls. So the volatility on Square, sorry, that's not correct. I didn't roll the Square yet. It's the Sava that I rolled. I'm so sorry. The Sava, I had the short 125 calls, and I rolled those for $7.50. Square, I'm not ready to roll yet, but I will probably tomorrow afternoon, because there's not a lot of premium left. Disney, which we don't normally look at, is dropping below the 50. That really did well after earnings and then continued to drop. Whirlpool announced a dividend today of $1.40 or $1.14, I don't know, but I don't hold the stock. Resistance at the 50, support at the bottom of the cloud. Best Buy, resistance at the 50, and then fell below the 200. Here, the stochastic momentum indicator is telling us that both the long term and the short term, fast and slow moving, are both heading downwards. FedEx, support on the 200 back here on August the 10th, support on the 200 here. Still, the Chiku span could bring us down, somewhere in this area. If the stock continued to channel, then the Chiku span would catch up with the 200, and that's where we should see our bounce. That was FedEx. Amazon, rejected by the 200. Netflix, support on the 50, rejected at the top of the cloud. Tesla, yesterday, support at the top of the cloud. We could have, if we looked at this, we would have seen this coming. And we saw the Chiku span yesterday finish right down here in the middle of this candle. Now, where is it? It's right at the top of that candle. So Tesla should continue to get support. Chiku span support is going to be lower in this area here, but again, oversold in both cases on these stochastic momentum indicators. Wayfair, support on the 200, rejection at the top of the cloud, support on the 200, and where did it end today? Chiku span also pretty darn close to the 200, which has been flat now since middle of July. This could be a chance to buy Wayfair if you're interested, but while it's moving up in the longer term, it's going to drop a little bit more in the short term. So here's where you want to wait for it to just finish its pullback and then watch it move higher. That's Zoom info, nothing to show there. So that's all I'm going to show today. So in summary, the markets are showing a possibility because of the Chiku span support. All three of them are showing Chiku span support on the top of the candle. Look at the volatility index. Look at that big jump, but look where it stopped, right at the top of the cloud. Again, that's resistance. That could tell us that we're going to have a down day in the volatility index, which means a good day in the market. So things are pointing that way from the McClellan oscillator, telling us we're going to have a bounce, to the technical indicators for the Dow Jones, NASDAQ, S&P, and volatility. Update tomorrow. I will bank on it.